This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is Friday, July 17th, the last day that you will hear us on air before we are live at SEC Media Days in Tampa. It's going to be fun. We haven't really gone through the actual attendees yet. We discussed a couple of positions that are going to be there, but not the individual guys. I want to go through maybe some of the attendees going to be there, just what we expect from them this year as players. And then a practice I thought would be interesting yesterday on Paul's show. This will give you guys a little time to think about this. Instead of doing our all SEC team, which I feel like we're going to get 10 variations of that, 95% of them are going to be the same. It'll be 4 guards and a tackle. It'll be 3 tackles and 2 guards for the offensive line. And instead of doing that, why don't we just do kind of our own hybrid all-SEC team heading into this of just players at each position we're most excited to watch? You pick them. And it doesn't have to be the best. You're not defending your stance on this is the best tight end, this is the best running back, best quarterback. Just guys that you are most looking forward to watching at each position this year. We'll go through that a little bit later in the show.
All right, left guard.
That I'm most looking forward to watch this year? Probably to give me some time on that one.
Snapper.
Long?
Interpret that how you will.
Red?
Punts or kicks?
Yeah. Punts,
Could
kicks, or shotgun.
Okay.
Short snap, long snap,
We will
snap.
We will discuss. We will discuss
Ginger snap.
across the course of the show today. But we got a lot to get to today. Obviously, going to still be a fun show. We got ACC Media Days to recap. We'll hear from James Franklin. Dabo Swinney was there yesterday. Brent Key was there yesterday. Jeff Brom. We'll hear from all of those. So plenty to get to. Anything stick out from you? We were talking about Dabo, Greg. Was he going to make some noise? Was he going to be chippy when he was down there? And I feel like you got a little bit of classic Dabo, but it wasn't over the top.
No, pretty standard. I don't feel like there was a whole lot there, honestly. I feel like it was pretty much the same as it's been for quite a while. I really love Dabo Swinney. I'm not necessarily going to go as far as to say that I think he's like the greatest coach on planet Earth, but I do love the man. I tell you, he's a hard guy not to root for. I always find myself rooting for him. And when he's kind of back against it, it's the one time where it's like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to root for him because he's like kind of gets mad and chippy and angry. You know what I mean? Like he gets confrontational, and it's like, don't, coach, like just play the sympathetic figure over there. Like we're just little Clemson. We're gonna try to work it out. You know what I mean? Like I wish he would lean to that. But I get the sense that he likes his team this year. Here's my read on the situation. You tell me if you think I'm nuts. Hearing him not just yesterday, but really throughout the last 9 months, I get the sense that he had a quarterback that was a nervous Nelly last year, that was a little bit of a roller coaster, was a bit of a front runner. When things went well, he was great. When things didn't go well, he struggled. I think he had some high-priced defensive personnel that didn't one in particular that I don't think played very hard all the time. I think he had no run game. They didn't have any running backs. They swung and missed on running backs, didn't have any. And they had a receiver that got hurt, and it just led to they've never been great on the O-line. I think it just led to kind of a perfect storm. And part of that was the guys that got highly paid. You expect those guys to be bell cows for you, and they weren't.
Yeah, it's fair. I think there are some folks, though, that would flip that around, specifically with what you said about Klubnik, and say, well, how do you let it get to that? I mean, I was an experienced quarterback. I know we still have to put some on the kid and some on the player, and it is his responsibility to an extent, but also some of it's got to come down to that staff. Maybe that's why you make the offensive coordinator change. They'll go back to Chad Morris, but still it's some of the veterans that you referenced that maybe did not live up to expectations, things of that nature. You got to wonder, how does the head coach that's been there that long let it get to that? Just a little bit of a fair back and forth.
Sure.
So Let's hear
But then
from,
again, like, wasn't Klubnik always kind of that way? Like, if things were going good, he was unbelievable. The second he got hit, he was a different guy.
I think I misinterpreted some of his mobility and ability to scramble as more positive than it was, as opposed to
Panic runs.
Correct. I was going to say timely escapes that were not going to be able to be consistently relied upon forever, which is a long way to describe that. I get it, but I'm not really sure how else to do it. But it looked good at the time because it worked, but it wasn't something that was probably consistently going to be there. And yeah, it turned into a problem because that kept him from sitting in the pocket when he needed to.
Yeah.
Here's Dabo Swinney on Clemson now maybe playing the role of Nebraska.
We lost 3 games by 11 points. We lost 2 games on the last play of the game. We're 151-7 all the way back to 2010 when we lead in the fourth quarter. 2 of those 7 were last year. So we didn't finish in the fourth quarter. We lead the nation. We're number 1, 138 schools. We're number 1 all the way back 15 years in one-score games. We're 1, and then it's either Georgia or Ohio State's 2 or 3. So we've won close games. I've had some 12-0 teams that were 4 plays from being 8-4. All right, and so we didn't win the close games. We didn't finish in the fourth quarter. We didn't run the ball effectively. We played the worst pass defense in my coaching career. So that's my fault. But it's football stuff. And so that's our focus. We got to fix the football stuff.
I don't think that sounded overly excuse-making,
No.
but, I mean, still, close games. Like, you got to find ways to win them. And he gave you his track record leading into last year, what it was, been pretty good, wasn't good last year. They usually find ways to win those games. But at the end of the day, you got to win them, no matter how close they were. Dabo Swinney also on the disrespect that he understands is going to be at ACC Media Days around his team this year.
You get what you earn. It's not what people predict. If it was about what people said, what they predicted, we win the league last year, we go to the national championship. All right? That's what I tell these guys. And this year, ain't none of y'all going to pick us. Ain't none of y'all going to say anything good about us. I've been dead. I'm gone. I think I'm still here. All right? But it's not about that either. It never has been. If it was about what people predicted, I'd have been gone a long time ago. All right? It's about what you do.
Just got me thinking of that. Was it Justin Timberlake and
go.
With T.I. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm standing on this road too long. Try to find a way back home.
I guess that's Dabo's new theme music.
Yeah.
When he walks.
That's his walkout.
Hold me dead and gone. Dead and gone.
Yeah,
Dead
the thing about it is, like, I don't think that's pretty typical Dabo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've heard that. How many times have we heard that?
I feel like a decent amount. The wording may have changed a smidge.
Right.
But yeah.
It's just another day. No big deal. But I will be curious to see this year, in all seriousness, like, the beauty of the portal is to fill the holes in your roster, no?
That's it.
And they had a handful of holes in their roster last year that were not fixed because they have long resisted overpaying in the portal, which I respect. I really do respect. I still think that's the right way to do it. The portal is a tool. It's not an identity. Like, if you're relying on consistent portal acquisitions every year, like, you're in big trouble. Like, if you got to have 20 guys a year, you're dead. You got no shot. But if you are, I'm talking over the course of time, because, yeah, you might have a 4-8 in there one of these days. Like, if you need to build it from high school, and then hopefully in time, when you build it from high school, you can, you know what we missed on that running back? That stinks, but let's go get a portal guy now. And Dabo's resisted that. This year he took 10, double digits. 8 of those 10, I believe, are on the defensive side. So they've clearly missed a little bit on the defense. They have gone out and gotten a running back, which was a necessity. They have a true freshman back from last year that hopefully has developed a little bit, and maybe they're going to be in good shape this year. I think they got a chance to be pretty good. We'll see.
It's when you rely on certain individuals and you don't bring in other guy, like the next guy in line that's already in your program in today's college football, it can be dangerous because you lose some of those other options to the portal. They're going to be gone. You're not able to sort of lean on them the way that you have been in the past. Continue rolling through some of what we heard from ACC Media Days yesterday. It'll finish up today, but have some other things that I want to get to. So I want to get to a lot of these coaches here early and knock some of these out. This was one that I found weird. I've seen a lot of people stand up and applaud. You know, the old DiCaprio in what's the movie where he's the stock guy?
Revenant.
Wolf of Wall Street.
That's his best role. Yes. Wolf of Wall Street, where he's like slowly clapping.
Yes.
Like I feel like a lot of people on social media have been doing that to this clip. This is James Franklin on what a team who he has not coached a game with did this offseason.
Working like crazy. They've totally embraced what we're doing from a cultural standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. They're killing it academically as well as doing all the things we need them to do off the field to lead our team to be successful. But we've been sprinting really since we arrived in Blacksburg, and I think I would describe it as I think we have won the offseason.
What could you play the last line again?
Give me a sec.
I need to hear that one more time because I want to make sure that I heard it correctly. That James Franklin, the new head coach in Blacksburg, believes that his team did what, John?
I think I would describe it as I think we have won the offseason.
You fired your coach.
Who did?
I think I would describe it as I think we have won the offseason.
How did he fire his coach?
The school you're coaching fired their coach.
No, but that's not
during the offseason.
That's not.
You didn't win the offseason.
No,
your coach got run. Now,
yeah,
I know you brought him back.
And now he's back. That's how they won.
For the record, he got fired after 3 games. So he did not get fired in the offseason. That's not accurate. Okay? Not accurate. Also, there were still games.
Corrected.
There were still games
off-season
being played.
Victory.
In-season defeat. Off-season. In all seriousness, though, like I know I appreciate your approach here. God's honest truth. Answer me this. Tell me a team in the ACC that has improved in the court of public opinion as much as Virginia Tech this year. I'll wait. Court of public opinion.
The key word you threw out there was improved.
Correct. In the ACC, tell me one that has improved as much as Virginia Tech. Go back to July 17th of 2025, and you tell me right now your impressions of Virginia Tech last year to this year. And then go one step further, and don't say Virginia because they won 11 last year. I know you want to because you love Virginia. You think they'd be a great member of the SEC, to which I would agree with you. But tell me a team whose status in college football has been altered more in the ACC than Virginia Tech. Don't say Syracuse because you want to, kiss the behind of all the broadcast people. Don't say North Carolina because Bill Belichick's first year didn't go great.
No, and Cal didn't have big portal acquisitions.
They had some. They did pretty good.
They're also
I would say they're
highly
probably
thought of right now. They're in good standing.
I think they are a lot. Virginia Tech's more, but I think Cal has improved. I would agree with you. Anyone else? Tavita Pritchard at Stanford?
No.
Florida State?
No,
maybe SMU?
Dating back to last year, if we're going back.
SMU was already highly thought of.
I think
last year they took a step back.
I'll give you one just to counter-argue my own point. I think Miami, if we were to go back to July 17th of last year, I think people think of Mario Cristobal differently. People think of the program differently. Everyone now views them as back. We were trying to tell you last year they're going to be great. No one wanted to hear it then, but now you believe us.
Well, I would almost say that if you just looked at overcoming your losses, Miami improved more from those than Virginia Tech did, but you can't state it that way because they were in the national championship
Correct.
game.
It's not this offseason. But in the last calendar year, Miami has improved.
But this offseason too, like you lose Carson Beck, you go get Darian Mensah.
Yeah.
You lose Reuben Bain, you go get Damon Wilson. Like they That's improvement still because you improved from the roster of not having some of those elite players that were on your team. It's just you're not coming back from the doldrums of a season like Virginia Tech had last year. So it's a very fair point that you make. I'll allow it.
Oh, thank you.
However,
Let's go.
Let me counter it with this.
They don't have any linemen.
Let me counter it with this. Who lost the offseason?
Okay, you ready?
Yes. And not just in the ACC, but just in general.
Well,
and there are some, I get it, but
the bad guys we talked about yesterday.
Who, Auburn?
No, we're the bad
guys.
Offseason. We're the bad guys according to Auburn.
Oh yeah.
Easy, John.
Poor us.
No, Texas Tech.
We've ruffled enough feathers.
I hope we can get a meal down there.
Just don't get a speeding. Don't get pulled over for speeding.
I stay in Alex City when I do Auburn games, so I'll be all right. I'll be all right.
Opelika.
I'll be all right.
My new best friend.
Not worried about it.
Humble brag.
All right.
Like, who do we look at and say, ugh, they lost?
Bad offseason?
Yeah.
All right. This will really make people mad. I can't wait for this one. Let me look.
Don't give me a team that fired their coach.
No.
Because apparently that doesn't count for Virginia Tech.
Anybody that fired their coach and or added new pieces.
It's when you fired your coach.
Yep.
Now, from here on moving forward, I used to always say I hate when you fire your coach in the middle of the season. I can say, well, we know Greg likes it because you're going to automatically win the offseason.
So you win the offseason, yeah. Who knew?
I'm just saying, I feel a lot better about Virginia Tech today than I did the day before they hired James Franklin.
Listen, James Franklin wins, man.
He does.
He can annoy you.
He is annoying.
You don't have to like the things that he says. He's rough around the edges. I get it. James Franklin wins.
He wins.
And I will never take that away from him, and I'll never not say that he can't do that. I mean, he won at Vanderbilt before Clark Lee did.
Correct.
So it's look what Maryland has been since he left, and his contributions to that program. Now there have been a couple of peaks, mostly valleys, and it's not like Penn State was on super sturdy ground when he got there.
No.
So he has won, and he will probably win at Virginia Tech. That is not us claiming multiple national titles for the Hokies, but he's going to win a lot of games. So
you can dislike him all you want. You can't deny the fact that the guy, you can say, you can't beat the top 10s. How many people are beating the top 10?
Especially the top 10s he was playing the last few years.
Well, that's the thing. It's like how many people
couple national titles.
How many people are beating Ohio State? How many people are beating Michigan on a consistent basis when they're rolling?
That would be the same thing in the late 2010s. An SEC team talking about an SEC coach. Well, he couldn't beat Bama and Georgia.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, would they share the national title 5 years in a row? I mean, that's not necessarily a problem.
Couldn't beat 19 LSU though. Can't coach.
So he's going to find a way to win some games. It's hard not to feel better about where the whole thing is because he's been a really good coach. What do you think his overall record is?
I'll
give you the wins, 128.
Yeah, it's a lot.
What do you think he has in the loss column?
40.
The exact number I was going to say, 40.
60, which is still really good.
Remember, it's not like the guy has been outside of Penn State. It's not like the guy's been at like some super. By the way, I don't even know if Penn State's a super blue blood. Like they are close, right? Maybe they're in the mix. They're on the short list, but it's not like Penn State has had like consistent national championships in the last 30 years. Like Penn State has been pretty up and down for a while, I feel like. So
they were at a time, but
yeah,
it has not been in recent memory.
At one point they were, but what was that, 85?
It's been a while.
Like, I mean, that was a long time ago. That was a generation or two ago. So, I mean, yeah, there was at one point they were a juggernaut, but not so much. Not so much in my lifetime that I can recall. But honestly, looking at, I think James Franklin wins. I think he's a good coach. I know that some of his stuff is a little bit like, it's a little Butch Jonesy, a little bit.
Great
like
comp, by the way.
Like a little corny, like a little bit. But he gets the guys to play. Like they play hard for him. And there are times they're a bit unsound. I'm going to be honest with you. There are times they're a bit unsound. There are times when they make some mistakes. And
it's like Butch Jones and PJ Fleck in a blender.
A little, it's a little bit that way. But I also think that his having been around him and covered him and called a handful of his games, some of his biggest games in his career, I've been fortunate enough to call because I've kind of seen him as like things are ramping up and it's tight and it's tense. Like he's got an edge to him a little too. Like that's why I kind of like him. I think he's a good coach.
You know who his comp is, and I think you'll agree with this. As a coach, Bruce Pearl.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like it's not overwhelming scheme, but he knows it and he can implement it and it can be good. He can motivate, he can find talent, and he can rally the troops.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to go out and promote. He's not afraid to do some of the extra things. He knows some of the things he says are going to piss people off. He's not afraid to say them. He's going to go ahead and say them anyway. Like he'll rub some people the wrong way, but his intentions are pretty good. Just doesn't care. Like they're very similar in just how they sort of approach and manage everything.
Yeah.
Now I think in their totality, Bruce got some bigger wins against better teams, but that's the thing that's going to hang over James's head for a long time. But he'll have a chance to do it now because Miami is going to be one of those teams for a while. Clemson maybe turns back into one of those teams. So he'll get some of those games.
Definitely. I think he's gonna be in good shape. I think they're gonna win big there. And by big, I mean like they're gonna be in the playoff mix regularly. Like regularly. I'm not saying every year, but I think every couple of years you're gonna see it's another year for Virginia Tech up there near the top of the ACC. Now Miami's gonna be the top dog there for a while. That ain't going anywhere. They're hot. They have more money than anybody. And Mario's going to always recruit the O-line. And if you're good along both lines of scrimmage, you're going to be in good shape.
Here are your most wins in college football since 2014. Dabo Swinney, 136. Nick Saban, 127. Kirby Smart, 117. Brian Kelly, 110. Kirk Ferentz, 105. James Franklin, 104.
Pretty sporty.
So he will probably pass one on that list this year. And that would be Brian Kelly. Kirk will probably, good chance he'll stay ahead of him.
Kirk will win 10. Per usual.
Okay, so that's...
I want to get back to your question of who lost the offseason.
Okay, we can do that when we come back. Off-season losers, because that's what we love to point out here. People that are not winning. We'll do that next on Jocks.
Don't leave Jocks back at the house. Download the Jocks 94.5 app and take us anywhere, in the car, at work, or at the game. Live audio, video, and podcasts on your schedule. The Jocks 94.5 app, wherever you may be.
Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Teams that lost the offseason. We'll get to those in just a moment. The problematic statistic with James Franklin, after we just stated some of the good, we'll get to a little bit of that. And we'll move on to teams who we believe maybe lost the offseason. Before we move there, Greg, if you're looking to move out of your home into a new home, who should you call?
Big Crocker Moves. There's a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring moves you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests for every single employee. These are good guys. You can trust them in your home. Let your whole home packed to move. Your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. These guys got you covered. They also deliveries for furniture that you purchase need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. It's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right. Before we get to teams that maybe lost the offseason, we mentioned James Franklin's overall record. Still needed to be pointed out. Versus the AP top 10, 4-21. 124 versus all others. Tied for the third worst record by a head coach at a single school in the poll era. This includes 1-15 against AP top 5 opponents. By the way, I don't feel like that there's a lot of folks that are that much better in those games. Those are tough games.
Unless you have a top 5. Like, here's my thing about the whole, look at his record against top 5 opponents. Well, was he favored in any of those games?
I'm trying to think of those.
The answer is no.
I don't think so.
No. Okay, so you didn't upset an Urban Meyer or Ryan Day-led Ohio State team. Like, what the heck is wrong with you?
You look at some others, though. I'm surprised this hasn't been brought up. Bill Snyder against top 10 opponents was 5-38.
Can't coach.
Gary Pinkel was 4-21.
Can't coach.
Now, the good news is, as far as rebuilding, the season before he arrived, Vanderbilt 2-10, they went to 7-5. In year 3, wins and losses, he 9-4 to 11-3. Vanderbilt, and so now at Penn State, he was 11-3 in year 3. So we'll see if he can get there. And I think that it's going to be better than it has been. It's just winning the offseason. I don't know. Who lost the offseason? A conversation we're going to have now. I looked through schools that
Texas Tech.
Yeah. I
Start
mean,
there.
John brought that up earlier, but yes, it's a very yes.
I'll give you another one.
Maybe still losing the offseason.
You know, and these are not that comfortable because you want hopes of spring eternal, right? But Duke just had their best year in 30 years, 40 years. Won the ACC outright for the first time since the mid 80s. Sorry, Doc, but I've been crazy. You know what I'm saying?
It was one of the first teams that came to mind for me.
And I hate it because they lose their 1,000-yard wide receiver and you lose your quarterback out the gate. That's just brutal. And Manny Diaz is the best guy of all time. The best dude deserves better than this. It's unfortunate, but look, Miami needed a quarterback, and that's the way it goes. You know, they have deeper pockets, just the way it goes. So it's a bummer, but that's probably the team of all the teams, especially in the ACC, that comes to mind. That's a tough one.
I'd probably go ECU. Also, I know it's not a team we're going to spend a ton of time talking about, but you lost your starting quarterback, starting running back, quarterback to Illinois, running back to Florida, tight end to Vanderbilt, offensive coordinator to Ole Miss. I know people aren't. It doesn't move the meter for a lot of folks, but ECU lost the offseason for certain. I mean, that's a lot gone. A lot gone.
Correct. That's a good one. And, they play Bama week 1. Let's ride.
Good luck.
There's a few others. I'm not going to reveal too much because I don't feel like it's fair. But there were a couple of coaching searches that went awry that I think, given the direction where it was going, what they had in store for themselves, not getting their guy, there's a couple teams that you could probably make a case for all over the country, right? By the way.
Yeah.
All over the country, we know too much about coaching searches. They were aiming for this guy, and that guy had a change of heart, and he goes elsewhere. And the next thing you know, the next team takes that guy, and then the guy that they were hoping to get, who was the secondary option at one place, was the number one option for them. And the next thing you know, it's well, dang, we lost all of our guys. Everyone we were going after him, now we got to make a hire, and so there's a couple of those. Don't need to get into it, but if you know, you know.
Can I ask you one that I think on its surface is not going to sound like it, because there's a totally different factor that I don't think most people would apply to it that I do think should be applied to it. And you just tell me in its totality.
Okay.
Utah.
See, no, I don't feel like they did, but I understand your thought. Losing your OC, losing a couple of your players off the defensive line, a couple of guys that were drafted off the offensive line. You retain the quarterback, which helps.
But the way in which and where your former coach landed.
He retired.
Okay.
I get what you're saying.
If he truly retired,
yes,
he doesn't take the Michigan
step up.
job.
Yeah.
I think that has to be at least factored in. And maybe it's something that was a friendly agreement and was there and was going to happen within the Utah brass. And then he changed his mind, and so it's completely innocent. But on the surface, it doesn't appear to be that way. On the surface, it looks like you ran a guy that was the best or second best coach you've ever had.
Yeah.
And now he ends up at a blue blood.
Sure. It's all true. I think that's a perfectly fair one. How do we feel about any of the following few? James Madison, South Florida, Iowa State.
Boy, South Florida's tough. I do think you got a guy that if you're looking at, first-year head coaches that may have a chance to really be something one day, they may have gotten one. But goodness gracious, would you lose that much of your roster? And
that's
you lose
all three of those fall into the same category to me.
Yeah.
It's you not only lose your coach, it's by the way, we're taking everybody with us as well.
It's tough.
It's brutal.
You would have to say, and that's the thing. If you just because you counterpunched one time and got a point on your card because of that doesn't mean you won the round. And that's kind of how I would look at South Florida. You had a really nice counterpunch, maybe a couple, and you won that round, you're still losing the fight. And so I think that's why you look at South Florida as you would have to say they lost the offseason and did their best to go win it. I mean, put up a good fight, but just everything in its totality, there's no way that you could look at that as a win, top to bottom.
Here's the other one, Colorado. Answer me this when it comes to Colorado. Like, tell me who was a bigger story in the sport than Deion Sanders over the last 3 years.
Ooh.
Dude, there has been no conversation about Colorado at all. None. I mean, we have spent hours on this show over the last 5 years talking Deion Sanders, Colorado, Coach Prime.
We've had a lot of people push back on us, too, mad that we're not talking more about them or giving them more respect.
That's fine, but I mean, like, you get the amount of attention that is deserved based on performance. And to me, with them, it's like, man, the star has really fallen. Doesn't mean they can't get it back. Doesn't mean he can't flip things. But my goodness, from where they were a couple years ago, where they were the belle of the ball, to where they're at right now, and it is like, goodness gracious, a lot.
I will say this though, I think that might be a more combo last two off seasons put together. I do like some of the guys that they got. They lost some guys that if you're a Colorado fan, you wish you had, but. We've seen DeAndre Moore play good snaps
really good.
At high-level college football. Richard Young has played good snaps at high-level college football. Juju Lewis has ability, talent. We love the offense that you're going to put in there. Go-Go offense is one that's fun, innovative. It can be successful. And I think you take A.J. Smith and put him in there as a quarterback coach to be able to help there a little bit as well. So Leona Leafau, who you go and get, is just a hair on fire playmaker type linebacker that's fun to watch. You went and got some guys.
Yes.
You're just going to it's going to take a lot to sort of put them all together. Like Brandon Fontenot, Boo Carter can play. You got some guys that from a behavioral standpoint now you're going to have to reel them in and make sure that they're trying to do football things the right way a lot of the time. But I do like some of the guys that they've gotten. So I would counter it with that. But it's a fair point because they made a lot of hay on conversation in generating that conversation.
For sure.
And it doesn't feel like they've been able to generate a whole lot of it here recently. So we'll see. All right.
Very little.
But a fun conversation nonetheless. We'll keep it going. We got a little bit more than we want you to hear from ACC Media Days. We can talk about winners, losers of the offseason. I want to get to our SEC players at each position across the course of the show today. AP poll is going to be out August 17th at 11 a.m. Do we project there what that's going to look like? David Hale going to join us.
August 17th?
Mm-hmm. That's when it debuts.
Wow, it feels late.
2 weeks before the season?
I don't know. It just feels late.
Okay.
I mean, I ain't mad at it.
David Hale's going to be with us later this hour, give us his thoughts from what he has seen at ACC Media Days so far. Bruce Feldman has a nice counter article to kind of some of the stuff that we learned about Cody Campbell, Texas Tech yesterday. He'll be with us in the 9 o'clock hour. Want to tell you about our friends at Train first. You guys know, I mean, listen, it was hot yesterday. It's going to be hot again today. Thankfully, we get these little showers in the afternoons the last couple of weeks to cool it off for a minute. But long summer of heat and humidity still ahead. Keep your home and family comfortable with America's most reliable HVAC brand, Train. And to help, Train is offering up to a $1,350 rebate on select home comfort systems. Learn more and find a specialist near you at Train.com. It's hard to stop a Train. We'll come back, discuss some of those things that we just mentioned next on Jocks.
Keys? Check. Seatbelt? Check. Jocks 94.5 on your preset? Locked in. Your ride's not ready till Jocks is on. Jocks 94.5. Your daily drive done right. Turn it on. Lock it in.
Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 7:40 Friday, July 17th here on Jocks. We are going to talk ACC Media Days here in just a moment. Wraps up today. David Hale is there. You'll have to wait for that conversation. But, Greg, one thing you never have to wait for is your dental care.
That's because Family Dental has you taken care of. The urgent care office you can be seen the same day. Several locations to make it easy on you. Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Trustful. They can get you in. They can see you on Fridays and Saturdays. They can get you taken care of. Just call them a day at Family Care Dental, 874-9605. That's 874-9605.
You know what? I don't want to dive into anything too far here because we're going to be up against a break to bring in David Hale. We'll talk some ACC Media Days, what Dabo said, what James Franklin said. Jeff Brom had some really interesting things to say. What has David Hale learned, and maybe what a team's opinions has changed for him during the first 2 days? We'll do that next on Jocks.
Jocks 94.5 is live on YouTube every weekday. Plus catch video shorts and podcasts, find us at Jocks 94.5 and smash the subscribe and like button so you never miss a moment. Jocks 94.5 on YouTube.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Let's go right to the Higginbotham hotline. Bring in David Hale of ESPN, covers the ACC. We had a conversation earlier about James Franklin winning the offseason, some of his quotes. What did you make of what he said, and what do you make of where Virginia Tech is right now heading into this season, David?
Yeah, I mean, look, given where they were, there's no question. I don't know if winning the offseason is exactly if North Carolina and Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson are the alternative, then yes, you absolutely won the offseason. But I mean, what Virginia Tech has won is the right to have much higher expectations than they had a year ago. Now, should those expectations be pegged around a conference championship game, a playoff berth? To me, that's getting the cart way ahead of the horse. This is a better team markedly than it was a year ago. I'd be pretty surprised if they're not a bowl team, 7 to 8 wins. But there's still a lot of pieces that are unproven there. They've got some pieces that I really like. Kamari Copeland was in here for ACC Media Days yesterday. I mean, he's a beast. And Luke Reynolds, their tight end. I mean, he's got a lot of Ty Warren in him. But we don't even really know what their quarterback situation is for certain yet. And the other thing, I think there's this sort of double-edged sword. Everybody looks at Indiana last year and says, boy, when a coach can bring a bunch of talent from the last school with him, that's always a really good thing. And it probably is on the aggregate, but Franklin even admitted, we were concerned about there being cliques within this team of the Penn State guys and then the Virginia Tech guys and then the new guys. I just think there's a lot to say, hey, this is all going to be, magic wand. It's going to immediately be a great team. I think it's going to be much better the product than we saw last year, but I'm not quite sold that we're ready to call Virginia Tech a team that's back into the national conversation right away.
We're talking with David Hale of ESPN. He is at ACC Media Days. I got to kind of pause this and rewind for a moment. And something that you just said. Bill Belichick is the head coach of North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I understand the just craziness that was last year, but it's almost like that has completely slipped through the cracks for a lot of this. Where are things there right now?
You are spot on. And look, theoretically, I'm about to talk to him in 15 minutes or so. We'll see if he shows up to have this conversation. But look, you can look at the product on the field last year and see that it was a bad product. How much better is it this year than last year? I think at the very least, adding Bobby Petrino as your play caller is a market upgrade from where they were last year. But here's the other thing that I can't step away from entirely. If you hired Bill Belichick to coach at Ohio State and the first year wasn't good, but he was building something, well, okay, I can see how that works. Part of the allure of making that hire at a place like North Carolina that traditionally has not cared about football at all is that you are moving the needle by changing the brand identity. And when you do that, I think part of it is you got to go out there and sell. And look, James Franklin's a great example of James is not the most media friendly guy. He does not want to be in front of cameras all the time, but he's done it. And he's going out there and selling the hell out of Virginia Tech, which already has more, I think, fan interest than Carolina does. So when you have a guy who is basically slashed and burned any opportunity for goodwill or, media attention or any of those things, it feels like just setting aside the on-field product, it feels like such a missed opportunity to help maximize the brand identity of a product that not many people were all that interested in before, but for a brief moment had a whole lot of interest in.
It's amazing to see just the adjustment that we have from one year to the next on Bill Belichick, on Deion Sanders, on everybody. So you better win year one, or you better sustain, or else media interest will die out quickly. When you look at Clemson, I'm amazed at how Dabo handled it yesterday. He didn't really get too angry, he didn't get too defensive. I thought he actually handled it pretty well. So just your read on Clemson and where they're at right now, where Dabo is, frankly, personally.
And I keep people asking me for my read on Clemson, and the saddest thing, this is for the first time maybe in 20 years of being around, or almost 20 years of being around Dabo and that program. I don't have a good read. What I can tell you is, on paper, this is probably the least talented Clemson team that Dabo has had since, I don't know what, 2010,
9 maybe.
And not surprisingly, the last time that he was coming off of a season this bad was 2010. You look at a quarterback situation that I think is very up in the air, and then they got a freshman in Tate Reynolds who they like a lot, and I think for good reason. But I mean, I'm dubious that he's ready to start immediately, and I'm more dubious that he's ready to start in Baton Rouge in week 1. And what Dabo has done this offseason really is a U-turn and said, hey, I listened to you people about a lot of things, and it didn't work out. So I'm going back to my roots. I'm going back to the things I'm most comfortable with, starting with new offensive coordinator / old offensive coordinator Chad Morris. I have seen Dabo prove people wrong enough that I'm just not comfortable saying it's not going to work. But what is not working like? I look like are they an 8-win team? Are they a 9-win team? I just look at this roster and I can't fathom this is a ACC champion playoff caliber team. It doesn't look like it at all. But again, like as Dabo said yesterday when we were talking to him, if what we thought before the season mattered, he'd have won a national championship last year, and he'd also been fired years and years and years ago. So Dabo has made both good and bad a career out of disproving people's expectations.
David Hale with us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking ACC Media Days. So if Clemson is not that roster-wise, we all believe Miami is that. Who else in the league is or could be that this season?
The team I really like is SMU, because you start looking at their roster, and I'm exaggerating this claim. I don't mean this as apples to apples, but there's a lot of similarity in my mind with Indiana, and it's a veteran team with the guys with a ton of snaps under their belt. Now, they're not all 4- and 5-star guys, but they have played at a high level, and they've done it a lot for a long time. And then you've got a quarterback who can be a real difference maker. Kevin Jennings, look, in fairness, in some of his biggest games has turned the ball over too much. But when he's humming, he's as good as any quarterback in the country, and he is a lot of fun to watch. He's got a ton of, overused term in quarterback lingo, but a lot of moxie to go out and just sling it around and make some plays when he has to. And he's been starting. This is his 4th year as at least a part-time starter. So he's got a lot of experience under his belt too. And I think one of the things that Indiana taught us last year is, and I was a believer in this as much as anybody, that it used to be the most talent, the blue chip ratio and all of that. Like those are the teams that could win. Indiana kind of showed like the alternative to that, if you can't have all 4 and 5 stars, is have guys that are older and who have played a lot of snaps. And I think SMU fits that bill. So that's a team that I like. I like Louisville a lot. TBD on Lincoln Kienholz and who he is as a quarterback, but there's a lot else to like with Louisville. And you go back and look at Jeff Brom's 3 years in Louisville, and it's like the games they've lost, like they were right there. Like in a lot of them, they shot themselves in the foot. If Louisville can play a season where they don't do something dumb to cost themselves a game or two, they beat Miami last year. And I look at that Miami game. I was at that Miami Louisville game last year, and it wasn't that they beat Miami. They were the better team, hands down, on the field in Miami last year. So, and Jeff Brom, I think very highly of as a coach. So that's a team that just needs to play smart football for a full season, and they're going to be in the mix.
Why does Jeff Brom lose one he shouldn't, like every year? And like lose it in remarkable fashion? Why does that happen for a guy that's so universally respected?
And that is, you sit down and talk to him, and you're like, this dude's brilliant.
He's awesome.
He's going to be a great footballer, and he is, yeah.
And he gets beat by 30 to SMU. It's like, what? You know what I mean?
Or go look. Go look at that Stanford game 2 years ago, and it is one of the most embarrassing losses by any team I have ever seen in my time in college football. Like, it was just a series of like Three Stooges level stupidity. And, I don't, the short answer is I don't know how this keeps happening, other than like, I grew up a Cubs fan, and you just think sometimes you're cursed. But I will say this, like he has a very, and I've talked to him about this, like his approach to roster building is go get the best guys you can find, and all the other stuff kind of works itself out. And I think more often than not, that is true. But sometimes when you don't have the traditional quote unquote glue guys, or you don't have necessarily some of those guys who are kind of you've got too many guys who know their own talent. Like sometimes that can backfire in big moments. And I don't know if that's the reason why or not. I'm not sure that Jeff Rom's ever going to change his philosophy on how he's putting a team together, regardless of how many of those games happen. You look at, again, you sit down and talk to him or talk to some of the guys that he has playing for him who I like a whole lot, and you say, how does this happen? The answer is, I don't know.
David, great stuff, man. Thanks for hopping on to discuss it. Always appreciate the time. Always appreciate your insight, and enjoy that conversation with Coach Belichick.
All right, man. Good talking to you guys.
David Hale of ESPN joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Some interesting thoughts there. Yours on Louisville, his on Clemson. Just saying that it doesn't – yes, it could get back to being really good. It's probably not going to be what it was last year, but it also doesn't feel like one of those all-timer teams that Dabo's had there in South Carolina.
There's also, though, an element, and we've talked about this with Bama's recruiting class. We've talked about it a handful of times. Like, 5 stars are great until they're not. Like, 5 stars are great until they become a problem. Like, 5 stars are great until they start requiring more attention and start draining the energy of the room. And I'm not saying all 5 stars are that way. I'm just saying 5 stars now come with a pretty significant price tag and potentially a level of comfort financially that doesn't force them to grind the way they once did. So I do think there's benefits in what he just said in having the underrated 3-star grinder with a chip on his shoulder can elevate his play over the course of 3 or 4 years. Like, if you can do that, you're going to be in really good shape. So I'll be really curious to see like where things go with the Clemson, because they haven't had the same type of, recruiting output. Maybe the roster isn't, quote, as talented, but maybe they're closer. Maybe there's a bunch of grinders on that roster where they make a run, because we've already seen that from Louisville's got a bunch of grinders, and they're really good. I mean, goodness gracious, Clev Lubin was like a 2-star, and he's a stud. So there's plenty of guys that can play, but it'll be interesting. The ACC is fascinating this year. It really is.
There's no doubt. All right, plenty more to get to across the course of the show today. Bruce Feldman in the 9 o'clock hour. When we come back, we mentioned SEC Media Day attendees by position. Maybe look at who's there, or look at kind of our own personal all-SEC team. Not who maybe we think is the best at each position, but who are we most looking forward to watching at every position this year in the Southeastern Conference. We have 3 Thursday nights left with no NFL or college football. Think about that after last night. 3 more to go. And then we made it.
But you're counting preseason NFL as NFL?
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing that.
Is it live tackle football?
I don't know.
Just checking.
Played a lot of preseason NFL. So I'm glad that
you
like that.
You can be our go-to analyst when it rolls around.
I'll delegate that to you.
Back with more next.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Mr. Sandman. All I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler. So I got to live my life and make people really happy.
The Heartbreak Kid himself, Shawn Michaels. Do you think there's anybody better than you were?
I think I was great at what I did, and I think other people were great at what they did as well. Greatness is more a mindset, I think, than anything else.
Mindset, motivation, insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform. Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
Mr. Sandman. All I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler. So I got to live my life and make people really happy.
The Heartbreak Kid himself, Shawn Michaels. Do you think there's anybody better than you were?
I think I was great at what I did, and I think other people were great at what they did as well. Greatness is more a mindset, I think, than anything else.
Mindset, motivation, insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
I'm your host, Megan Klingenberg. One thing I promised you is an all-access pass that you wouldn't get on any other show. And we found out that whoever comes on scores a goal. Burhope, Freeman, Trusty. U.S. Soccer Podcast magic is real, people. We still got plenty of coverage all throughout this World Cup. Okay, let's get into it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henkel. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.